Hello and welcome to day 4 of our 8-day to arm balances journey. Today we have a flow to crow. So our crow pose is one of our really foundational arm balances that we practice in yoga. So you'll see a lot of elements of days 1 through 3 coming into this practice, and then we'll finally get into our first kind of official arm balance where our feet come off the floor and we're just on the hands. So for this practice, I recommend having a blanket and 2 blocks if you have them. They're going to be really helpful once we start getting into our crow pose. And of course, you can use them at any point throughout your practice for a little extra support and care. So when you're ready, we're going to get started today lying on our backs. So come on down to your mat. And as you get comfy here, please set up the legs with your feet planted, knees bent. Keeping your feet just about hips-width distance apart and heels slightly away from your booty here. Arms can relax down wherever they feel most comfortable. And perhaps your eyes close here, or you can let your gaze soften. As you feel your spine lengthen out along the support of your yoga mat, I invite you to find your breath here. So tuning into your natural rhythm of inhales and exhales, that in and out ebb and flow. And notice you don't need to force or push your breath in any way. Simply allowing for this natural flow in and out through your nose. Allowing each round of breath to draw you deeper into your body, into this present moment on your mat. So you can really feel focused and present as we move throughout this practice. So that you can recognize all that your body does, all that you're capable of. And perhaps along with that presence, along with that focus, you can sprinkle in a bit of gratitude as well. Thanking yourself for showing up to this practice, for perhaps trying something new, trying something for the first time, for challenging yourself and giving yourself this opportunity to grow. Now, when you're ready, we're going to start to add a little bit of movement to our breath. So feet still planted, arms will come either down by your sides, or you can bring your hands onto your hips for a little bit of guidance. We're going to revisit these pelvic tilts that we did on day 2. So as you inhale, you're going to tilt the pelvis forward, sticking your booty out, creating this arching of the low back. Then as you exhale, pass through neutral and then scoop your tailbone under, drawing your low back towards the floor. Again, with your inhale, tilting the pelvis forward, pouring out that water, find that arching. And exhale, scooping the tailbone under, feeling your navel hug in and down. Let's do that a few more times, inhaling. And exhaling. Feeling this movement through the pelvis can be really small, really subtle, or you can make it a little bit more dramatic as you stick the booty out and then tuck the booty under. Really starting to feel that movement around the hips and starting to wake up the core a bit here as well. So let's take one more round of these tilts, inhaling to find that little arch and exhaling to scoop under. This time we're going to keep that scoop of the pelvis here and find those elevator doors coming in. Hip bones draw to center, low ribs and pubic bone draw together. From that engagement of the core, hands by your side, start to lift your knees up until they're stacked over your hips. Heels of the feet come together. Turn the toes out, let the knees come a little bit wider. So it's almost like first position in ballet if you're a dancer. The knees are about in line with your shoulders. See if you can keep that slight scooping of the tailbone, that hugging in around the core. As you inhale, pull your heels in towards your body. Let the knees come towards your armpits. As you exhale, push your heels away, zipping up the legs as you extend out. Again, inhale to bend your knees, draw the heels in. As you exhale, pushing to a diagonal, drawing the legs together as you extend. Let's keep it going. Inhale to bend the knees wide. Exhale, push and squeeze through the inner thighs. Inhale. And exhale. Few more rounds of this at your own pace. Starting to wake up the inner thighs, especially here. If you remember, the core is not just our abs, but it's this whole central area of the body that supports you. So really waking things up as we get going here today. Beautiful. One more time here. Inhale to draw your knees in. Exhale to push your legs away. Nice. Now as you inhale, bend the knees, draw the heels close. Exhale, bring your hands behind your head. Take an inhale, lift your head and shoulders away from the floor. And then we're going to draw the elbows to point forward. So rather than opening the chest, we're going to bring the elbows towards the knees. Now as you inhale, take the knees, the elbows towards one another. As you exhale, draw the legs and arms away. It's a tiny movement here. Inhaling to draw in, exhaling away. Just a little crunch. Inhale in, exhale away. See if you can tap your triceps to your knees and then pull away with that exhale. Can you feel that crunching of the core, that kind of scooping in at the low belly, everything hugging together as you bring the elbows and knees to touch? Beautiful. One more. Inhale to tap. Exhale, move away. This time lowering your head, your shoulders all the way down to the mat. Hands come now to the backs of your thighs. As you pull your knees towards your armpits, let your heels separate. Moving towards your happy baby pose. Option 1, you can keep the hands right here on the backs of your thighs. Option 2, reaching for your big toes or the outer edges of your feet. If it feels nice, you can bring a little movement, a little playfulness into this pose. Perhaps gently rocking side to side, gently drawing the knees in or extending the legs out. Getting a feel for the hips here today. See what you're working with, see what's going on there. Let's take another inhale right here. And exhale completely. Gently drawing your knees back together. Wrap yourself in a hug for just a moment. And then either roll to one side and press yourself up, or from your back, hands to the backs of your thighs, curl in and take a little rock and roll forward and back. Awesome. We'll meet upright on the mat, coming into your tabletop position. So here we are once again, shoulders stacking over wrists, hips stacking over knees, finding your nice flat back here. Spread the fingers nice and wide, claw down through your fingertips. And as you inhale, lift your palms away from the floor. With your exhale, lower the palms down. Beautiful. Inhale to the fingertips, keep the knuckles bent, and exhale, lower down. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. Just 2 more. Inhale, lift, little finger push-ups, exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Now keep clawing through the fingertips. Keep that sense of lifting through the palms. Now with your inhale, draw your shoulder blades towards one another. Feel this slight drop of the chest. And as you exhale, draw your shoulder blades apart. Feel that puff of the upper back. Just moving through the shoulders here. Inhale, scapula together. And exhale, drawing your shoulder blades apart. Keep pushing through the hands as you do this. Inhale together. Exhale, broadening the upper back. 2 more, really strengthening the shoulders here as you inhale, pinch the shoulder blades together. Exhale, apart. Last one, just moving through the shoulders here. You got this. Exhale. Beautiful. Inhale back to a nice neutral spine. Let your big toes come together behind you and slowly shift yourself back towards your child's pose, hips towards heels. Walking the fingertips forward now. Feel that lengthening underneath the armpits all the way through the sides of your waist. Keeping your hips heavy, take an inhale to walk your arms over to the right side of your mat. Settling into a side stretch for that left side waist. Let's take a breath in and breath out. As you inhale, passing through center, making that journey all the way to the left edge of your mat. Reaching through your fingertips, sitting back through your hips. Inhale and exhale. Inhale your arms back through center, spreading fingers wide, rooting through the fingertips. Exhale here. Then with your next natural inhale, rise up. Find that tabletop position once again, stacking your joints. Hugging in at the navel, so find those elevator doors, resisting gravity. Take an inhale, send your right leg back behind you, letting those right toes hover off the mat. Now, if you'd like to add on here, left arm can reach forward, finding this spinal balance here. Reaching long, hugging in at the core. Take an inhale here. With an exhale, draw your knee underneath you. Elbow comes to tap the knee if you have that left arm lifted. Then inhale, extend out long once again. Exhale, bring it in, knee to elbow. 3 more, inhale, reaching out. Exhale, curl it in. 2 more on that inhale, really feel that push back through the heel. On your exhale, feel that lift through the navel as the knee comes in. Last one, inhale, reach out. Exhale, curl it in. Now this time as you inhale, reach the right leg back, drop that left hand if you had it lifted. We're gonna set up for a few tricep push-ups here. So hands just about underneath the shoulders, elbows by your sides. Take an inhale, lower halfway down, chest hovers. Exhale, push back up. Just 2 more on this side. Inhale, lower to hover. Exhale, push up. Stay strong through that back leg. Inhale. Exhale, you got it. Drop your right toes. Send your left foot back to meet your right. And then lift your hips up and back, finding your downward facing dog. Pedal it out if that feels good, bending one knee then the other. Maybe shaking your hips around a little bit here. And let's take a breath in and breath out. Lightly lowering your knees down to the mat. We're gonna set up for that same flow on the other side. So restacking your joints here, nice long spine. This time taking your inhale to lengthen your left leg back. Toes hover, hips stay square. If you want to add that right arm, reaching through the fingertips, really pushing through that left hand. Now take your inhale to extend long. Exhale, knee comes to nose, maybe elbow comes to tap the knee. Then inhale, reach it out. Exhale, curl it in. 3 more times with your breath. Inhale to reach. Exhale to curl, keeping the core strong this entire time. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale, reach. Exhale, curl it in. Then inhale, reach your left leg back. Drop that right hand if you had it lifted. Squaring your hips and shoulders, we have 3 push-ups. Inhale, lower to hover, elbows close. Exhale, push away. Again, inhale, shoulders on your back. Exhale, push up. Last one, inhale, lower halfway. Exhale, push up. You did it. Left toes down, right foot to meet the left. Lift your hips, downward facing dog. Movement or stillness, that's your choice. But really feel into your foundations here. Hands clawing down, lifting through your armpits. Nice softness through the knees. Let's take a breath in here and breath out. With an inhale, bend your knees, glance forward. Exhale, take a walk to the top of your mat, feet coming up to meet your hands, forward fold. Take just a moment here to hang heavy, rooting through the soles of the feet, lifting your hips to the sky. Taking another inhale here, and exhale. As you inhale, bring your hands to your hips and slowly start to stand all the way up. Eventually finding yourself in Tadasana, mountain pose, at the front edge of your mat. Let's move through 2 of our sun salutations. So integrating our chaturanga into our practice, getting ourselves warmed up here. From your mountain pose, take an inhale to rise your arms. As you exhale, hinge from your hips, fold forward. Inhale, hands to thighs or shins for halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Planting your palms, step it back into your plank pose. Your choice whether the knees are lifted or lowered. Take an inhale, shift your chest forward. Exhale, elbows close as you lower halfway down, chaturanga. Inhale, lift your heart, drop your hips, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, send your hips up and back as you find your downward facing dog. Take a breath in here and let it out. Inhale, bending your knees, hugging navel to spine. Exhale, take a couple big steps to the top of your mat. Feet meet your hands. Inhale for that halfway lift, lengthening your spine. And exhale, fold forward. Hands to hips as you inhale and rise to standing. Exhale, arms by your sides, mountain pose. Again, with your breath, inhaling to rise your arms. And exhaling to fold forward. Inhale, lengthen your spine, nice flat back. Exhale, hands to the mat, step it back into your plank. Take an inhale, pushing through the palms, lengthening forward. Exhale, chaturanga, elbows hug in. Inhale, lift up into your back bend, shoulders pull back. And exhale, rise your hips to your downward facing dog. You gotta inhale here and exhale. With your inhale, bending your knees, look forward. Exhale, nice big steps to the top of your mat. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale to fold. Hands to hips, inhale, rise to standing. Take your time. Exhale, hands by your sides. Tadasana. Awesome, feet stay right underneath the hips. Inhale, reach your arms up. As you exhale, sit your hips back, coming to your chair pose. So for our purposes right now, if you want to drop the hands down to your heart or your hips, please feel free to do so. Really focusing for a moment on the core and lower body. So really feel the hips moving back in space as if you were actually about to sit into a chair. And then even though the legs aren't touching, imagine this magnet between the inner thighs, hugging everything towards center. Now, if you'd like to add on a little bit here, keep everything as it is, but begin to rock your weight forward to the balls of your feet and lift your heels off the mat. Maybe you can even sit a little bit lower, hugging the navel in, squeezing the inner thighs towards one another. You got this. Take another inhale here. Exhale, release into a forward fold, dropping your heels down. Take a moment to hang heavy breath in and breath out. Beautiful. As you're ready, stepping your left foot back behind you, gently lower your left knee down onto the mat for your low lunge. Hands framing that right foot, perhaps using your blocks to lift the earth up to you. Taking an inhale to drop your hips, lift your heart. As you exhale, rock your hips back. Find a little length through that right leg. We're going to flow here with the breath. So as you inhale, bend the front knee, come to your lunge. As you exhale, send your hips back, lengthen through that right hamstring. Again, inhaling forward. And exhale back, chest just hovering over your thigh. 2 more times. Inhale forward. Exhale back. And last one, inhale to your lunge. And exhale to that half split shape. With your inhale, come forward into your lunge. This time, we're going to tuck the back toes and lift that back knee. Dropping your left heel down, let's set up for warrior 2. Take your inhale to rise up. Take a moment here to feel into your feet. So really suctioning down through the outer edge of that back foot, feeling this light lifting through the inner left hip, the inner thigh. And then, of course, anchoring down through that right big toe mound, that right heel, feeling those foundations plugging you into the mat. Now, when you're ready, take an inhale to straighten your front leg, reach your arms up, and look to your thumbs. With your exhale, rebend your front knee, arms reach out, gaze follows that right hand. You guessed it, with the breath, inhale to straighten the leg and reach up. Exhale, get low into that warrior 2. 3 more times. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, warrior 2. Follow your breath. Inhale. And exhale. 1 more here. Inhale, reaching up, find length. Exhale, low into your warrior 2. Beautiful. This time as you inhale, just straighten through the front leg. As you exhale, begin to kick your left hip back behind you. Inhale, reach out through that right hand. Feel length through the side of your waist. And then exhale, tip over, bringing your right hand down, reaching your left arm straight up to the sky. Finding your triangle pose here, looking for that lengthening through your spine. Noticing as well, though, you need a lot of strength, a lot of stability to hold you in this place. So rather than dumping weight over towards that right hand, see if you can find a little lift through that right side waist, giving you just that little bit more length out through the crown of your head to really open up into this pose. Beautiful. Let's take another inhale here. And exhale completely. As you inhale, rebend your front knee, find that warrior 2. Exhale, hands pinwheel all the way to the mat. Step your left foot forward to meet your right. Find your forward fold. Pause here for a full round of breath. Inhale. And exhale. As you're ready, stepping your right foot back behind you, right knee lowers to the mat. We're setting up for our low lunge on the other side. Squaring off your hips, so left hip draws back, right hip draws forward. Take your inhale in your lunge here. As you exhale, rock back, begin to lengthen that left leg and feel that stretch. Moving with your breath, inhale forward, feel that stretch for the right hip flexor. And exhale, rock back, feeling that stretch for the hamstring. 3 more, inhale, really waking up the hips. And exhale back to your half splits. 2 more, inhale. And exhale. Last little flow here, inhale to your lunge. And exhale to your half split. Beautiful, inhale forward to your lunge, this time tucking back toes to lift your back knee. Dropping your inner right heel down, set up that heel to arch alignment. And then inhale to rise all the way up in your warrior 2. I'm just gonna turn so that I'm facing you. That left foot forward, right foot back. Find that plugging in sensation that we set up on the other side. And then see if you can imagine your feet pulling towards one another. So really hugging that sensation of drawing into center to help lift you up. And then when you're ready, we're gonna flow. So as you inhale, straighten your front leg, reach your arms up, look up. Exhale to bend your front knee, arms to a T. Inhale, reach up, find that length. And exhale, find warrior 2. 3 more like that. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, warrior 2. Inhale. And exhale. Final round with your breath. Inhale. And exhale. This time with your inhale, lengthening through the front leg, soft bend in your knee. Exhale to kick your hips back. Feel that stretch through the hips, and then reach the left arm forward to find that length of the spine. With your next exhale, drop the left hand down, reach your right arm up, and find your wingspan here. Really spreading across the chest, opening through the heart. Feeling this openness through the entire body, the chest, the sides of the waist, the hips, and everything keeping this lightness to it. So again, rather than dumping down, reaching towards the floor, can you think instead about lifting up, almost as if someone was pulling that right hand towards the sky. You got it. Let's take another inhale here in our triangle. And stay for your exhale. With your inhale, find warrior 2, bending the front knee. Exhale, hands all the way down to the mat. This time, stepping your left foot back, lifting your hips into downward facing dog. Take a moment for movement if that feels nice. Maybe pedaling the heels, wiggling the hips. And then walking your feet closer to the center of the mat, we're gonna find that first position once again. So heels turn in to touch one another. Toes are pointing out at a diagonal here. Squeezing the inner thighs together, find a soft bend into your knees. Now as you inhale, bend your knees deeply, dropping your hips in a little plie. As you exhale, push yourself forward into a plank, shoulders over wrists. Then again, inhale to bend your knees, send your hips back. Exhale, push up into your downward facing dog. Just like that, inhaling for that little plie, squeeze the heels. Exhale, push forward, zip up the legs. Inhale, bending your knees, sending the hips back. Exhale, lifting into your downward dog. Just one more here. Inhale, bend the knees, drop the hips. Exhale, push forward to your plank. Inhale, bending the knees. And exhale, lift the hips. Now, as you inhale, bend your knees into that little plie. Look forward towards your hands. As you exhale, squeeze your navel to your spine, scooping in at your belly. Then take another inhale, maybe bend the knees a little deeper, get ready to spring forward. As you exhale, hop all the way to the top of your mat. Nice job. As you land, keep the feet together. Drop your hips down to your heels. We're coming into our toe balance here. So just to show you from the front, the heels are lifted. We're balancing there on the balls of the feet. Great place to find your blocks if you'd like a little bit more height, or hands can stay on the ground. Squeezing your inner thighs towards one another, drawing your navel in and up to give you that sense of lifting. So everything that we're doing here, hopefully you're starting to feel this in your body, is this sense of squeezing in to lift up, giving yourself this lightness through the body by engaging the right muscles. Beautiful. Now, as you find your balance here, you might like to play with lifting one hand off the mat, maybe both hands off the mat. I suggest looking at a point that's not moving to help you find your balance. Notice how that feels in your body, how your muscles have to respond, so you don't fall over just like I just did. And then take another moment or two to play in this shape. Notice how it feels, even feeling that stretch through the soles of the feet. Beautiful. Let's take another inhale right here. As you exhale, slowly lower yourself all the way onto your booty, coming to sit on your mat. Nice, might feel good to kind of roll out the ankles a little bit after that. And then we're going to set the feet up again with knees bent, feet out in front. Hands find the backs of your thighs as you sit up nice and tall on those sits bones. Take an inhale, start to lean the upper body back, keeping your chest lifted. As you exhale, squeeze the low belly to help you lift the feet, coming towards your boat pose. Awesome. So your hands can stay at the backs of your thighs or reach your arms forward. We're going to find a little movement here to wake up the core just a little bit more before a crow. So your inhale is here, lifting through the chest. As you exhale, begin to extend the legs, lower the upper body to hover. Nice. Inhale, squeeze in as you lift up. Exhale, lower to hover. 3 more. Inhale, squeeze and lift. Exhale to low boat. 2 more. Keep breathing. Inhale and exhale. Last one. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hover. Beautiful. Inhale, lift to boat. Exhale, drop your feet. Wrap your arms around your legs and drop your head into a nice little hug here. Relax your belly, relax the muscles of your back and shoulders. Enjoying a moment of pause, of stillness here as you find your breath once again. All right, now we're going to put everything together and finally come into our crow pose. So when you're ready, lift yourself up to a nice tall seat, and we're going to grab our props here today. So first we're going to use our blocks to set up a little perch for ourselves. One block is going to be on the lowest setting, laying on your mat. The other prop is going to be behind it, either on the medium setting or on the tallest setting. That's up to you. So basically we have a little flat block on the bottom and a little backboard behind it. Now your blanket is going to come in front of you right at the top of your mat here. That's going to act as our kind of crash pad just in case we happen to fall forward, because a lot of the action of our crow pose is this kind of forward and upward action. So if you want to have a blanket, some pillows, whatever you need, it's mostly a psychological thing just to have something there. It's probably not going to happen that you're going to be falling into it, but it's nice to have it there to kind of mentally tell yourself, I'm good, I got this, I'm safe. So when you have your props all set up and ready to go, we're going to move through our crow pose bit by bit. So I'm going to start by showing you the pose itself so you can kind of see where we're going. I really encourage you for now to just watch, and then we're going to break it down together and you'll have your time to play with it and see where you want to go with it today. So I'm going to show you using my perch here. I'm going to come onto my tippy toes on my perch. I'm going to find that first position, so heels are together. My palms are planted and my elbows are finding my triceps. Now I'm going to lean forward into my hands, finding this kind of shelf of the arms for my knees. As I lean forward, I squeeze the belly, and then I start to squeeze my heels up towards my booty. And then I'm going to drop back down onto my perch and take a rest. All right, so let's break that down. So the first piece of our puzzle, as I kind of alluded to on day 3, is our chaturanga arms. These keep coming back throughout almost every arm balance that we're going to do during these 8 days together. So our hands are planted just like we practiced on day 1. We're clawing through the tips of the fingers, pushing through the base of the fingers, and thinking about lifting the palms. So finding, again, I'm going to come back to it, that sense of lifting up away from the floor. This is not a heavy pose. We're really thinking about getting light so that we can fly. So you have those foundations of your hands. You can practice even just planting them into the mat, bringing some weight into them, see how that feels. Then, of course, we have our chaturanga arms. So you know how to do this as well. You keep the elbows hugging in and sliding the arms back. So again, that sensation hugging in and back. Your shoulder blades are going to kind of hug into their sockets there. And then you're also going to feel this kind of puffing of the upper back, just like we practiced earlier in this class today. So it's a bit of a hunching, a rounding as we get into this pose, as you could probably see when I was doing it. So again, foundations of the hands clawing down, you got that. Chaturanga through the arms, you got that. Now that is our foundation, that is what we're balancing on. But the thing that's gonna lift us up and keep us balanced is our core. Awesome. So, like we've been practicing this entire class today, you're gonna be hugging in and creating that feeling of lifting up. You already did it when we were on our backs earlier. You just did it in that boat pose variation that we did. You already know how to do this. Your body already knows how to do this. So let's practice just that for a moment. So you have your perch. You're gonna bring your toes onto your perch. Your heels might even be able to rest on that backboard here. Now remember, we're gonna find that kind of first position through the feet, so heels are together, maybe even the toes are together. And then let's place the palms onto the mat. For now, if you can, send the knees nice and wide, almost like you're in that happy baby shape that we practiced earlier. So hands planting down, clawing through the fingertips, lifting through the palms. Play around with shifting some weight forward, bending your elbows, and notice how the chest, the chin comes forward. And then push back up for a moment, and maybe try that again a couple times. So almost these little push-ups you've got going on here, just practicing that chaturanga shape. Now, of course, as you bring your weight forward, you're gonna start to dip your head down, right? It's only natural that as we start to come down, you're gonna have that moment of, oh gosh, I'm gonna fall. But don't worry, remember you have your crash pad if you need it, and you already have all the strength you need in your body to do this pose. So you can practice that a couple of times. And we can bring into this as well, as we're talking about the gaze, how we want to really trust ourselves in this pose. So even before we bring the legs into it, before we try to lift the feet up at all, play around with bringing your weight into your hands, trusting yourself to bring your weight forward. And see if instead of like looking down or tucking your chin, see if you can keep looking proudly forward, looking ahead of you. If you tuck your chin, that's what's going to cause you to fall. Because everything's curling in, you're going to kind of roll like a ball forward. If you look forward, that's going to keep your energy balanced. That's going to keep that kind of forward and upward energy that I was talking about here. So hands are planted. Chaturanga in your arms. Core is lifting in and up, so your hips start to lift away from your heels, and you're looking forward. You're playing with that trust of leaning into the hands. That might be where you leave it for today. That is a beautiful place to be. Remember, this is about building up your arm balances. That doesn't mean you're going to do your crow pose right here, right now today, and you don't have to. So let's bring the next piece into this puzzle as we get closer to our actual crow pose here. So we have the arms, we have the core, we have the looking forward. Now let's place the knees. So the way that a lot of people do crow pose, and the kind of traditional way to do our crow pose, is with the elbows, or the knees, on the triceps. So it's gonna be kind of uncomfortable at first because you're actually pressing your knee into your upper arm. Now, a lot of people prefer to do this pose with the knees outside of the arm. That requires a lot more of the inner thighs squeezing in. It's not quite as stable because you don't actually have this stacking of the knee being on top of the arm. But you can try it out both ways, see which one feels better for you, and go from there. So let's do this all together. Planting your palms, lifting through your core to lift your hips, and then see how it feels to place your knees onto your triceps. So actually pushing your knees into your arms, and then start to find that chaturanga, bending through the elbows, looking forward. Now sit back. If you want to try it out with the knees hugging into the outer edges of the arms, you can try that as well. Just doesn't quite feel as secure to me personally, but your body is unique. You find what works for you. Now, another note here, it will be a little bit slippery to put your knees onto your arms if you just applied lotion to your skin, if you have really slippery leggings. So keep those things in mind. If you're sweating as well, it might be a little bit more slippery. So think of these things as you start to place the knees that might be kind of interfering with the stability of that structure. All right? So again, we can stay right here for today, planting the palms, bringing the knees onto the triceps, and then bending the elbows, starting to bring your weight forward. Now from there, you're already so close to your crow, so you might play with lifting one foot off your perch, drawing your heel to your booty, dropping it down, and then trying the other foot, drawing your heel in and dropping it down. Of course, sit back, take breaks as much as you need to, roll out those wrists, roll out those shoulders, breathe. Nice. So we have our foundations. We have our hands planted, our arms nice and strong in that chaturanga shape, our core doing most of the work here, lifting us up, squeezing everything in. The knees are planted onto the arms, and we're looking forward so we can really fly up into this pose. Now, the most important piece of this puzzle is trust. Trust yourself. Believe that you can get up into this pose. If you are doubting yourself, it's going to be a lot harder to do this. All right? So again, you don't have to do this all at once. A great way to build your confidence, to build that trust in your body, is to do this incrementally, step by step. So maybe today you stay with that, just lifting one foot, dropping it down, lifting the other foot, dropping it down. Maybe you want to go fully towards your crow pose. Now, if that's where you want to go today, we're going to do it once all together, and then I'm going to talk you through some of the things that might be holding you back from fully flying into your crow. So when you're ready, let's plant those palms. Start to squeeze through the navel. Find that lifting. Rise your hips from your heels and bring your knees to your triceps. Claw through your fingers as you find those chaturanga arms. Get light on the feet, look forward. Squeeze the inner thighs, the elbows, the navel as you start to lift one foot heel to glute and then the other foot. Keeping the feet together, squeezing everything in, breathe. And then when you're ready, you're going to drop the feet down, sit back, and rest. Beautifully done. So again, you can play around with that as much as you'd like today, being mindful that there's no pain in the wrists, the shoulders, the back. You know what to do. So when it comes to our crow pose, and you can keep playing as I'm talking here, or you can pause the video, whatever you got to do. When it comes to our crow pose, some of the most common things that I see that keep people from being able to fly are the feet and the knees. So the whole kind of lower body aspect of this pose. So I'm going to move my perch out of the way for this, just to kind of show you. So I find it very helpful to start with my feet together so that when I fly up into my crow, I'm not kind of all over the place, right? The whole action here is squeezing in and lifting up. So if I try and start from like a squat where my feet are already wide, I'm feeling a lot less stable because my feet are kind of out there in the ether and then I have to draw them in. I find it a lot easier to start with the feet connected. That way I don't really have to think about it. They just come up towards the pelvis already, right? So then the knees are the other thing here. Again, we need that mobility to keep the hips fairly open, like we've been practicing all of our class today. And you need to have that ability to really push the knees into the arms, push the arms back into the knees. So if you take the knees too wide, you're going to lose that stability. If the knees are too close together, obviously you're not going to be able to put them onto the arms. So you find that place of comfort for you. And again, you can try with the knees on the triceps or the knees hugging the outer arms. So feet are together, knees are at that comfortable distance, making sure that the hips are nice and open for you. And then of course, allowing yourself to trust to go into that full pose. So remember, arm balance is not really about the arms. Of course, we need that strong foundation, but it's mostly the strength of your core and the strength of your trust in yourself and what you're capable of. So please play around with your crow a few more times if you'd like to. Take breaks as you need to. You can try it even without your perch if you'd like. The perch is just really nice to draw your feet a little closer to you as you start to get to know this shape. But as you get a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more familiar, you can start playing around with it without those blocks there. All right? So take your time as you need here. Remember, you can always pause the video if you'd like to take a few more moments than I'm giving you. But when you're ready, we're gonna meet back to wind things down, stretch it out, kind of cool off after that crow pose action. So you can move your props off to the side. Really, really well done today. And we're gonna meet each other seated on the mat, and we're gonna face that top edge of the mat here. So keeping your right heel curled in towards your body, extend that left leg out into this kind of half V shape here. I'm just going to show facing you so that you can get a feel for what we're doing here. So hip is nice and open, that left hand on the left leg. Take an inhale, reach your right arm to the sky. As you exhale, reach up and over with that right hand, reaching towards your left toes. Hips are heavy, rooting you to the mat. Left thigh is slightly turned open to really feel that stretch through the hip. And as you reach through those right fingertips, of course, feeling that stretch through your right side waist. Taking a few slow, even breaths here. Taking this time to slow things down, to notice how you feel in your body. And with your next inhale, begin to rise back up, right arm reaching for the sky. Exhale, right hand plants behind you. Push down through your right shin as you inhale, rise your hips, stretch up to the sky, find a back bend. Hugging your shoulder blades together, lifting your heart. Inhale again here. And exhale, slowly lower back down. Beautiful. That left leg will come straight out in front of you now. Right foot finding your left inner thigh or your left shin, if that feels better for your hip. Lifting up nice and tall once again on your sits bones. Take an inhale to reach up. As you exhale, fold forward. With an inhale, think about reaching your nose towards your toes. And exhale to release your chest over your left thigh. 5 rounds of breath here. Coming back to your natural rhythm of inhales and exhales. We have one more inhale here. And exhale completely. Inhale, slowly rise back up to a nice tall seat. Lifting your right knee, pointing towards the sky, and planting your right foot to the outer edge of your left thigh. Lift up tall, take an inhale here. As you exhale, turn your chest towards your right knee and find a twist. Perhaps reaching those right fingertips back behind you to find a little lifting through the chest, spreading across the collarbones. Let's take another full breath in. And with your breath out, slowly unwind. Bring yourself back through center. Awesome. Now bend that left knee, draw your left heel towards your right glute, and then start to walk your right foot over to the left edge of your mat until your knees just about stack here. Inner thighs squeezing together, hips rooting down towards the earth. Now you can stay right here, feeling that sensation for the outer right hip, or take an inhale to sit tall. And with your exhale, begin to fold forward. So folding only as much as it feels good for your body here today. Keeping that heaviness down through your hips to really feel that stretch into the outer right hip specifically. Your body has done so much for you on your mat today. This is your time to give it a little bit more love, a little nourishment after all that work and activation. We have just one more inhale here. And exhale. With your inhale, slowly rise back up if you are folding forward. Rock back so that you can unwind your legs, stretch them out in front of you, and give them a little shake to release. Wonderful. We're going to take all that on the other side. So as you're ready, right leg will open to that half V as you draw your left heel in towards you. Sitting nice and tall, right hand to right leg. Take an inhale, reach your left arm up. Exhale, reach up and over into a side bend, reaching for those right toes. Hips move down as your heart lifts up. Perhaps you can even turn your chest towards the ceiling a little bit more here. Breathing here as we stay for another 3-ish rounds of breath. Releasing through the sides of the waist, through the hips. Now with your next natural inhale, slowly rise up nice and tall. With your exhale, drop your left hand behind your left hip. Rooting through that left shin, take an inhale to lift your hips, sweep your right arm open, lifting your chest, stretching through the front of your body. Take another inhale here in your back bend. Exhale to slowly lower everything down. Beautiful, bringing that right leg now straight out in front of you, left foot to your inner thigh or inner calf. Lifting up onto the sits bones, take an inhale, reach up tall. Exhale, heart forward as you fold over your right leg. Letting that right knee soften as you inhale, lengthen your spine. And exhale, bow forward over that right thigh. 5 rounds of breath here as you stretch through the back of that right leg, through the back body. Perhaps even closing your eyes or softening your gaze if that feels nice for you. Let's enjoy another inhale here. And exhale. As you inhale, slowly rise back up to a nice tall seat. Lifting your left knee and planting your left foot to the outer edge of your right thigh. Lifting up nice and tall once again, take an inhale here. As you exhale, turn your ribcage to the left, opening into your twist on this side. Drawing your shoulders back, spreading the collarbones wide, and keeping the spine nice and tall, nice and proud. Let's stay for another inhale here. With your exhale, unwind your twist, coming back through center. Now bending into that right knee, draw your heel towards your glute, and then start to walk your right foot out until your knees stack one on top of the other. Rooting through your hips, maybe even sitting up onto one of your props if that feels better for you today. And you can stay right here, already feeling that really nice stretch for the outer left hip. If you'd like to go a little bit more into that stretch, you can inhale to sit up tall and exhale to fold forward any amount. Settling into stillness wherever you are, as we're here for about 3 more rounds of breath. With your next natural inhale, begin to rise up out of that fold. Rock yourself back so you can unwind your legs, stretch them out long, and give them a little shake to release if that feels nice. Awesome. Now, as you're ready, scooting yourself towards the middle of your mat, start to lay down all the way onto your back, bringing yourself once again onto the mat. When you're there, draw your knees to your chest, wrapping your arms around your thighs or your shins as you give yourself a nice big hug. Taking a moment just to feel this release, letting the weight of your body be supported by the earth underneath you. And spreading your arms out to either side of you, drawing your shoulder blades down. Let your knees come away from your chest, stacking the knees just about over your hips. Let's take an inhale right here. As you exhale, begin to lower your legs to the right side of your mat, moving into a twist here. Now, great thing about having your props is that you can bring them into this pose. Maybe bringing a block between the thighs, underneath the legs, to really give you the support to stack through the hips. That stacking of the hips is going to give you this really nice length through the left side waist, so you can enjoy that release through your spine. So take the time you need to set yourself up in a position that is comfortable for you, where you feel nice and cozy, nice and supported. And we'll stay for about 5 more rounds of breath on this side. All together, we have one more inhale here. And exhale completely. Gently drawing your navel to your spine. Use that core support to help you roll back through center, back onto your back. Pausing here for as long as you'd like before we come to the other side. But when you're ready for that next twist, arms spread out, knees stack over hips. Take an inhale to prepare. And as you exhale, lower your knees to the left, finding your twist. Taking a few moments to readjust, add props as needed to make sure you're nice and comfortable here on this side. Recognizing that this side of your twist might feel different than the other side. So you can play around with some different variations, some different uses of your props, if that feels good. Eventually settling yourself into stillness. And finding about 5 more rounds of breath here in this shape. One more inhale here. Nice slow exhale. Inhaling to draw yourself back through center, back onto your back. Finding any final shapes, any final stretches that might feel good in your body before we settle into our final resting pose of the practice. Eventually letting yourself find your Shavasana. Perhaps stretching the legs out long, resting your arms by your sides. Maybe bringing your blanket over you for a little extra warmth, or even placing your blocks underneath your knees to support your low back. Taking a few rounds of breath to set yourself up in this position where you can rest for the next few minutes, where you can be comfortable, where you feel supported, where you feel like you can rest and truly soak in everything that you did on your mat today. And as you start to find stillness in your body, perhaps your eyes close if they haven't already, allowing your feet to relax, your legs to relax, your hips to relax, your belly and your back relax, your chest, your shoulders, your arms and hands relax. Relaxing through your neck, the muscles of your face, your head, your whole body relaxed, melting into your mat. As your body relaxes, feeling that your breath can move freely, returning to its own natural rhythm, bringing prana, life force, through your body. This is your time to rest, to integrate, to enjoy the fruits of your labor on your mat here today. And this is where I'll leave you to enjoy your Shavasana for the next few minutes in stillness and silence. I thank you so much for joining me in this practice today. Namaste. Be well.